Okay, let's dive right in. Right now, there's a massive high-stakes battle playing out in the world of finance. And we're not talking about some typical corporate takeover. Nope, this is a war being fought over the future of money itself. Just look at this number, $70.8 billion. Now, that's not the valuation of some flashy new tech startup. No way. That is the combined bet that just two, individuals have placed on the future of crypto. And they're doing it with publicly traded companies, making a wager so huge it's actually reshaping the entire market as we speak.
So, to really get what this $70 billion war is all about, you gotta meet the two guys at the absolute center of it.
All right, in one corner, you've got Michael Saylor. He's the executive chairman of MicroStrategy, and he has pretty famously bet the farm, his entire company, on Bitcoin. And in the other corner, that's Tom Lee, the chairman of BitMine. He's taken his company and completely pivoted it to become the world's single biggest corporate owner of Ethereum.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. These two guys come from completely different worlds, professionally speaking. And those backgrounds, they've led them to two totally opposite conclusions about where all this digital asset stuff is headed.
And this chart, it just lays it all out perfectly. You've got Saylor, the MIT-trained engineer, literally a rocket scientist, who looks at Bitcoin and sees, this beautiful mathematical purity, this thermodynamic soundness. Then you have Lee, who's your classic Wall Street strategist. He's not looking at the math, he's looking at the network effects, the user trends. What's actually driving Ethereum's use in the real world?
Saylor's whole playbook boils down to one thing: preservation. He's famous for this idea that traditional currencies, dollars, euros, they're like melting ice cubes, just constantly losing value to inflation. So for him, Bitcoin is digital gold. It's not just an investment, it's the only rational way out of what he sees as a failing system.
But Tom Lee, he's on a completely different planet. He sees Ethereum as digital utility. See, he's not just thinking about parking money somewhere safe. He's looking at it and asking, what can we build with this? In his view, Ethereum is basically the essential plumbing for a whole new financial world, decentralized finance, or DeFi.
Okay, so they have these big, bold ideas, but talk is cheap, right? Let's look at how that conviction translates into some absolutely mind-blowing numbers on their company balance sheets.
All right, get this. Michael Saylor's company, MicroStrategy, has just been relentlessly stacking Bitcoin. We're talking over 780,000 of them. Now, to put that into perspective for you, that's almost 4% of all the Bitcoin that will ever exist in the hands of one public company. Just wow.
And you think Saylor's the only one going all in? Think again. Tom Lee's BitMine is sitting on nearly 5 million Ether. And here's the kicker. As a percentage of the total supply, his stake is actually bigger than Saylor's, coming in at just over 4% of all the Ethereum out there.
So here's the bottom line right now. Both of these war chests are absolutely massive, no question. But, and this is a big but, Saylor's Bitcoin bet is currently worth way, way more in dollar terms. We're talking almost $60 billion for MicroStrategy versus closer to $12 billion for BitMine.
Okay, so why should you care about any of this? Because these strategies don't exist in a vacuum. They don't just affect MicroStrategy and BitMine. No, they're creating these huge waves that ripple across the entire financial world. And that's why this story matters to all of us, even if you've never touched crypto in your life.
I mean, on the upside, what they've pulled off is pretty incredible. They've basically written the playbook for how other big companies can get into this space. They've also become these giant buyers, which can actually help stabilize the market. And for regular folks, they've created a super easy way to get a piece of the action just by buying a stock.
But, and you knew there was a but coming, there is a massive, colossal risk hanging over this entire thing. And if you listen to what market analysts are saying, it all boils down to one simple and frankly terrifying word: leverage.
So let's walk through how this could all go wrong. Picture this, a prolonged crypto bear market, what everyone calls a crypto winter. All of a sudden, these guys are sitting on massive paper losses. Now here's the problem. Both companies used a ton of debt to buy all this crypto, so those losses could trigger what's called a margin call, forcing them to sell. And if they have to start dumping their holdings, that selling pressure could crash the entire market. It's like a line of dominoes, just waiting for a push.
So you have to ask yourself, where is this all going? What's the master plan here? What's the real endgame for Michael Saylor and Tom Lee?
For Saylor, it's not just about hoarding digital gold. Oh no, his vision is way bigger than that. He truly believes that Bitcoin will become the bedrock, the foundational asset for a whole new global credit system. He's talking about capturing a huge slice of the, get this, 300 times trillion credit market. The ambition is just off the charts.
And Tom Lee? His endgame is to become the ultimate toll booth operator. He's positioning his company to be the main bridge, the go-to gateway for all the big Wall Street players, your Goldman Sachs, your JP Morgans, to safely cross over into the wild, sometimes confusing, but incredibly lucrative world of DeFi that's being built on Ethereum.
And so, that leaves us with what is probably the single most watched question in all of finance today. Are these two guys the architects of a revolutionary new financial system, visionaries building the future? Or are they destined to become cautionary tales about what happens when ambition and leverage go too far? Honestly, the answer to that question is going to define the next decade, not just for crypto, but for pretty much all of our portfolios.